They showed remnants of an old school Juventus DNA where they went for the game to the end. But the other story is also how poor Inter was. And we have a few Inter fans in the studio as well. That's like putting your hand in a hornet nest. They were really upset. They were up 4-2.
They looked good when they went forward, it must be said.
They were up 4-2, but they conceded two crazy easy goals.
The defense and right down the spine. Acerbi, who's normally the center of that back three. Çalhanoğlu right in front of him. Those are huge losses, especially Çalhanoğlu, who's become one of the best players. But it's the control that he gives them. It's that know-how. When you lose those two key players in the spine of the team, you're going to have moments like that. But I agree. There were some lapses which are inexcusable, especially the late reaction to some of those balls in the individual moments. So, Di Marco, I want to talk about the Conceição, that little ball that he sent in for the assist. Di Marco's playing all the way up. That means Mkhitaryan's got to come back. Mkhitaryan's the one who gets burned. Mkhitaryan's an attacking midfielder. He's defending now against a tricky winger. He's got no chance.
I will say also, Matteo, is Mkhitaryan has to make that run up. Mkhitaryan has to go back the other way and score a goal. We're talking about Acerbi. We're talking about older players now. And I think there's been a little bit of heavy legs in the Inter side, especially in games like this that go long and go deep. At 4-2, to me, they look like they were a little bit tired and a little bit exhausted.
It's the oldest team in Serie A. And Juventus is the second youngest team.
They're 5 years older on average. So Inter is 5 years old. I mean, that's substantial. Normally, when you look at those ages within teams, you see your youngest team as being about 23, the oldest teams being about 27, 28. Inter's over 30, 30.1, and Inter's around 25. So I mean, Juventus is around 25. So it's 5 years age gap. And in these games that get stretched, that's tough for the 30-year-olds.
Well, you could see it at the end of the game.
That defence is hurting them, isn't it, Marco? But what about Lautaro? Because he's been another one that, you know, maybe hasn't been the player that we expected him to be from what we saw last season in their heights.
Yeah, that was one of the topics that we were just talking about on our live stream is Lautaro Martinez. And Thuram has been the focal point of this team so far this season. And even in the things that he does with the layoffs, he's not doing the simple things. Lautaro Martinez throughout his career has been that striker that's been streaky. He's gone through moments where he doesn't score goals, where he's not too involved. He started the season slow, then he scored a couple, and he sort of plateaued right where he is right now. He has that one opportunity with the ball at the top of the box. But this is much more than just Lautaro Martinez not hitting his strides. This is an Inter that conceded 4 goals today at home. So they need to take, that's not the...
They had good games. Lautaro had like 4 through balls where he set up a teammate really well.
For me, the issue with this Inter side has been the theme that we've been bringing up all week, where even when they seem like they're in control of games, they're not in control. And it reminds me of 4 years ago when CBS first got the rights, where Inter would go through these moments where you think that they were dominating and then something would switch off and they could lose a game.
How do they fix that, though? Because now we're heading into Christmas, aren't we? Obviously, they have got the winter window. Do they need to bring in reinforcements?
They've already proven that. This is a team that can get you to a Champions League final and can win a Scudetto easily.
It's a mental thing.
It's a mental thing. The players themselves have talked about it. They've said maybe it's complacency, right? It's an attitude problem. It's committing too many players forward where normally they would focus more on keeping things tidy at the back. The players themselves said that. I'm not saying this. Bastoni, I'm just repeating Bastoni's words from 2 weeks ago. Like, the players themselves are saying what the issue is, and they're not sure why it's happening, but they can correct it because we've seen now 2 or 3 year sample size where this team can dominate in Serie A and can be by far the best team representing Italy in Champions League.
Yeah, but if that is the problem and the players are saying we know the problems, then why aren't they fixing it, Grella? Because if it is a mentality thing, if it is an attitude thing, in games like these, they don't get any bigger. It was a thrilling match.
They're second place. Like, I feel like this is a negative talking point, Poppy, but
do you not
right behind Napoli.
You don't think it's a negative result today?
But we have to poke holes in.
Of course, it's a negative result, but they're playing Juventus. Like,
Matteo, they've taken
Juventus didn't score that many goals.
Regressed from last season.
If that's a negative result, then it's because of.
Yeah, no one's doubting that they
obviously
regressed, but we're in October. Like, teams can go where they have a few months where they're off.
Lose at home to Milan, 2-1, a very poor Milan, by the way, where they were given opportunities.
It's also the way that it's the way that they're conceding goals. It's not just the results. I think it's within some of these performances that have been sprinkled around with Inter, there are worrying sides where they have to fix that if they want to go far long term.
I think also, Papi, we're talking about now, since we've covered Serie A, now that we're in our 4th season, right? And I think they've been the favorite in every single season. And that also means that they've been held to an unbelievable standard, and that also means that they're exhausted, right? They made it to a Champions League final. They've played well in the Champions League no matter when they've played in it. They've won the Scudetto last season. You're talking about a level of concentration to accomplish those things. Why we get to talk about them all the time is because the level of concentration, commitment, and physicality that they've put into that. and they're older now. And so I think you're seeing a little bit of a drop-off. And to Mateo's point, it's not this massive drop-off, but you're seeing a drop-off because they're older.
But they're
and
better
because it's
this
been 4
season.
years that they've been very good for 4 years.
Individually, this is a better team. 100%, Marco. To bring in,
it's not
they have
just
the
about the
same,
individuals.
they
As a
haven't
team, they're not playing better.
They haven't lost anyone, and they've brought in Zielinski, Taremi. Before they had Arnautovic playing.
It's not as much as a
I know,
science.
but
As
it's
a team,
deeper
they're not
side.
playing.
I agree,
But
but
doesn't
on paper,
doesn't
they're
that make
better
it
this
worse
season.
in some ways?
Have they-
As a team.
Absolutely,
As a
they
squad.
have as
Okay,
a team.
and
No
why do you
one's
think they've
debating
dropped
that.
off?
Because of what the players have said too. It's an attitude problem. Maybe it's complacency.
See, I disagree. I think that it's a physical problem. I think there's an exhaustion over
But
4
the
seasons.
player-
They haven't changed
The players
much.
are saying this. The
No,
players are saying this.
But he's not going to say, he's not going to come out and say we're garbage.
It could be both though as well. I mean, I
He's
think
not going to say we're tired in October. I mean,
But why do we really think it's because they're tired?
No, I
don't
think-
think the mistakes they're making are because they're tired.
I think
the ending of this game, you did see a Juventus that was way more fresh, way more ready to go on and win this game because of the youth that they have than the Inter, who's managing all the competition.
Guys,
Again, it's not a sweeping statement that's saying Inter's not going to be there at the end, but they have these little things that they need to fix and find the balance a little bit
What
more.
are they?
They're also
3
missing
points-
with a lot of players.
What is it now? The table 3 points behind, 4
Four,
points behind now.
4 points.